Carney crumbles on live TV, while Poilievre launches bold plan to rescue Canada's housing. As the 2025 Canadian federal election rapidly approaches, the stark contrasts between the two frontrunners, Prime Minister Mark Carney of the Liberal Party and Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, are on full display. What started as a campaign focused on economic recovery has turned into a referendum on credibility, fiscal responsibility, and the urgent need for solutions to Canada's deepening housing crisis. Over the past week, Mark Carney has been the focus of widespread criticism across multiple media platforms. What was intended to be a commanding defense of his economic blueprint quickly devolved into a flurry of evasive answers and factual missteps. One particularly damaging moment occurred during a nationally broadcast debate when Carney accused Poilievre of supporting restrictions on abortion, a claim swiftly refuted by Poilievre, who had previously and publicly stated his pro-choice stance. The backlash was swift. Pundits across the political spectrum condemned the accusation, with many framing it as a desperate political maneuver that undermined Carney's credibility and distracted from the real issues at stake. This misstep followed an already shaky debate performance in Quebec, where Carney's limited fluency in French left him struggling to connect with voters. Meanwhile, Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet seized the opportunity, delivering a strong performance that resonated deeply with Quebecers, especially younger voters disillusioned with both Federalist parties. Analysts argue that the French debate may have marked a turning point in the province, with the Bloc consolidating support and the Liberals slipping in key ridings once considered secure. Carney's signature policy, a sweeping $4 trillion economic plan, has drawn fire from economists and political analysts alike. Designed as a transformative national investment package, it includes $130 billion in new spending and is projected to add over $200 billion to Canada's already strained federal debt. Economist Jack Mint was among those who criticized the plan, calling it reckless and warning that it could saddle future generations with unsustainable fiscal burdens. Even mainstream outlets such as CTV noted that under Carney's leadership, Canada is poised to remain in deficit for the foreseeable future, potentially adding another $250 billion in red ink to the national ledger. At the center of this critique is a fundamental ideological divide. Carney and the Liberals envision a Canada where growth is orchestrated by state investment, centrally planned development, and public-private partnerships. One controversial element of Carney's plan involves awarding contracts for modular homes to Brookfield, a global asset management firm where he previously served as a top executive. While Carney insists these partnerships are essential to scale housing rapidly, critics argue that it smacks of conflict of interest, reinforcing perceptions of an elite political class serving insiders rather than everyday Canadians. Against this backdrop, Pierre Poilievre has emerged as a voice of pragmatic optimism. Rather than championing massive government spending, Poilievre has focused on cutting red tape, lowering taxes, and getting government out of the way so Canadians can thrive. His newly unveiled housing strategy aims to build 2.3 million homes over the next 5 years, a bold target grounded in realistic policy mechanisms. Poilievre's plan includes unlocking federal lands for development, selling off unused government buildings, and removing the GST on new rental housing to make construction more viable. Municipalities that fail to meet annual housing targets will face funding cuts, while those that exceed them will receive bonuses. The plan also introduces accountability measures for the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, ensuring timely project approvals and efficient use of public funds. Critics of Carney's housing approach argue that it's heavy on slogans and light on execution. While his Canada Builds initiative promises collaboration with provinces and territories, skeptics point out that the plan still leans heavily on federal bureaucracy and loan programs rather than directly addressing supply-side bottlenecks. In contrast, Poilievre's strategy is seen as a bottom-up approach that aligns incentives, penalizes obstruction, and empowers the private sector to respond to demand. The policy contrast between the two candidates is mirrored in recent polling trends. According to Main Street Research, the Conservatives are polling at 41.4%, with the Liberals just behind at 40.7%. The NDP, once a serious contender, has dropped to a mere 5.9%, a sign that their base may be migrating to more viable alternatives. Echo's polling flips the lead slightly in favor of the Liberals at 43% versus 41% for the Conservatives, but both polls point to a deeply divided electorate. A seat projection model recently released by 338 Canada shows a potential Conservative minority government with 156 seats, just 14 shy of a majority. The path to a majority, while difficult, could theoretically be secured with Bloc Québécois support, though ideological differences on pipelines and energy policy make such an alliance unlikely. Beyond the numbers, the motivation behind voters' choices tells a compelling story. According to internal campaign data and polling, 76% of Conservative supporters say they are voting for hope, a belief that Poilievre can usher in a better future. Conversely, 60% of Liberal voters admit their vote is driven more by fear of change than confidence in Carney. That psychological contrast, hope versus fear, is shaping the momentum on the ground. Nowhere is that momentum more visible than in advanced polling stations across the country. Reports from major urban centers, including Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver, suggest record-breaking early turnout, with some stations running out of ballots. A surge in youth engagement has been particularly noteworthy in Quebec, where enthusiasm for Poilievre and Blanchet is driving unexpected turnout. Political observers have dubbed this the beginning of a blue wave, signaling potential gains for the Conservatives in regions traditionally dominated by the Liberals. Even nonpartisan voices are chiming in. A recent statement from a senior citizen affiliated with the Canadian Association of Retired Persons, CARP, captured the mood of many voters. What happened to the Canada we knew? Who's to blame for the lost decade? In the same breath, the speaker pointed to Pierre Poilievre as the one leader offering a clear path forward. The message is resonating across demographic lines, among first-time homebuyers, working-class families, and retirees who feel left behind. Meanwhile, Carney continues to face growing skepticism, not just about his policies, but about the coherence of his campaign. Gaffes on the campaign trail, ranging from awkward photo ops to being defeated in a ball hockey game by schoolchildren, have further eroded the image of a seasoned technocrat. While these moments are largely symbolic, they underscore a broader narrative. Carney's campaign, once billed as a safe pair of hands, is faltering under pressure. In the final days of the campaign, the choice before Canadians is coming into sharper focus. Mark Carney offers a vision centered on centralized planning, high public spending, and elite management. Pierre Poilievre, by contrast, offers a leaner, more accountable government, with policies rooted in affordability, efficiency, and common sense. This election could mark a pivotal moment in Canadian political history. The outcome will determine more than just the next Prime Minister. It will signal whether Canadians want a country run by financial elites and technocrats, or one led by a populist with a plan to restore affordability and opportunity. As the ballots are cast, the future of Canada hangs in the balance.